This island has been a sanctuary. At the very center of this world, the Guardian rested a titan who had preserved the natural balance for eons. Peace is a fragile thing.
Target acquired.
Human eyes, ever hungry for power, coveted the primal energy that sustained the king. They began to bleed him dry.
Power core stabilized. Initiating sequence Gamma. All personnel stand clear of Bay 7.
Far from the reach of nature, an aberration was forged, a beast of cold iron and surging electricity. It was engineered to be stronger. The blood bond between the king and the earth cannot be hidden. The Guardian felt the shift in the world's soul as the sky bruised with an unnatural energy.
Shut it down! It's not responding!
System override. Target humanity.
The humans thought they had built a servant, but they had birthed a cataclysm. Now, the ancient protector must rise to face the ultimate human sin. In the depths, the king began his hunt. Every footfall made the forest shudder.
We've lost manual override!
Meanwhile, digital commands flickered and died before the awakening will of the machine. It didn't just consume power, it devoured the very essence of the land. A vein of light pulsed between the crystals of the hollow earth and the machine above.
Alpha team approaching containment zone.
The army moved in, foolishly believing tanks could weather a storm. But iron does not strike its master. Weapons turned against their wielders as a frequency-shattering scream tore through the dimensions. The king felt the pain, and that pain forged a white-hot rage. He broke his chains, refusing to be a captive of this new world. The scientists fled the lab.
Structure unstable! Move!
The army moved in, foolishly believing gravity betrayed the
We have
soldiers.
lost traction! I repeat, vehicles are airborne!
Iron floated like feathers as the earth split open, and hell rose to the surface. The war cry echoed, and the king answered. He stepped through the gateway of worlds to meet his fate. The new master of magnetism stood tall, a monolith of power.
Systems are down.
Human weapons were mere scrap metal in his presence. The sky churned, and the storm began. From the heart of the world, the Protector emerged to restore the lost balance. One look was all it took. They both knew the war had begun. The Magnet Master did not fear muscle. He mocked it.
Fall back! It's pulling the armor!
The human armies realized too late that they were out of their depth. Rage knows no patience. The first strike was launched. An invisible force repelled the mountain's charge, and the fist that once shattered boulders hit a wall of pure energy. But the ancient warrior possessed a primal wisdom. Stone does not bow to magnets. With a sudden, crushing blow, the king shattered the machine's aura of arrogance. The enemy shifted its gaze toward the human cities, a buffet of metal and power. The Guardian did not turn his back on the danger. Even when faced with an invincible foe, the city woke to a nightmare, a shadow that swallowed the light.
Weapon systems failing.
Human iron became fuel for the enemy.
Evacuate! Get out of the tanks!
Their own technology turned against them. The king took the high road through the rocky canyons, watching as the destruction neared. Energy attracts energy. The dams groaned under the pressure, and as the beast gorged itself, hell began to overflow. With a thunderous landing, the Guardian blocked the path. Glances were exchanged that defied gravity itself. The battle was far from over. The sky rained iron, and fury descended from the heavens. In the water, every movement became heavy. The king struck back with the weight of a mountain, but the laws of nature had knelt to a new master. Every weapon was turned back on the king. The dams collapsed, and a merciless flood swallowed the world. As the Guardian sank, the demon floated, The solid earth was only a temporary refuge. This enemy was different. Its hunger for power led it straight to the city gates. The humans, unable to wait for miracles, had manufactured their own disaster.
Target locked. Fox 2.
Iron against magnetism was a losing equation from the start. What was built for destruction became the beast's armor. The Guardian arrived to witness the full scale of human hubris. The magic had turned on the magician, and the sky rained fire. Suddenly, the laws of gravity failed. The earth was no longer stable. Everything drifted into the void. The iron didn't melt. It became a new shield for the devil. The king fell into the trap, a prisoner in an invisible cage. The monarch who ruled the earth with his fists was now a feather in a magnetic hurricane. The enemy showed no mercy, exploiting weakness to crush the king's pride. The humans tried to help, but their ignorance only bred more disaster. They thought they were dousing the flames, but they were only pouring oil on the fire. The new surge of energy didn't break the chains. It turned the prison into a guillotine. But pain awakens instinct, and the mind began to outpace the muscle. In a world without gravity, every object became a launch pad. The king transformed himself into a living projectile, shattering the laws of physics. Iron bent before the sheer will to live. But the metallic monster had one last card to play: the Great Fall. The earth does not forgive those who drop from the sky, and gravity demanded its debt in blood and iron. Dust choked the air, hiding both the victor and the vanquished. The enemy was shattered, or so the king believed. But in this modern age, death is just a reboot. The beast was not a body. It was a virus searching for a larger host. The very battlefield became the enemy. There was no escape when the ground you stood on wanted you dead. The true face of destruction finally appeared. A cage of fire and iron. The king fell, and darkness declared its victory. They thought the fire would erase him, but they forgot that kings are forged in the furnace of hell. The smoke cleared, and the body protected by time did not fail. The chains that had melted were now nothing but ash beneath his feet.
Recalibrating.
The machine knew no fear, but it was prone to errors in calculation.
Wind howling through the metal storm.
The earth itself rose at the command of its true master. The king didn't dodge the storm. He tore through it. To kill the dragon, he had to scale the mountain of iron. The walls screamed with electricity. A fall that would shatter bones could not break his will. The war had entered the phase of total annihilation. A strike with the force of a collapsing world fell upon the iron fortress. But the iron was alive. It swallowed the king's strength, attempting to dismantle him from within. There was no more room for tools or technology, only teeth and claws. The city itself became an iron tomb, closing in on the king. Under thousands of tons of metal, the flame of hope seemed to flicker out. But responsibility is a fuel that never runs dry. The king refused to submit. A roar tore through the silence. The metallic giant decided to end the game, exposing its magnetic heart to the heat of the sun. It was victory or extinction, one final leap toward death. The two powers collided, and a deafening silence preceded the great explosion. When the dust settled, only the echo remained. The machine was now nothing but silent scrap, but a living heart still beat amidst the wreckage. Victory wasn't a flag to be raised. It was the simple ability to stand up once more. The king looked at his fallen foe. He didn't see a monster. He saw the ironclad sin of humanity. Below, the humans were small, terrified, and silently grateful. He didn't wait for their thanks. Destiny is a burden, not a job. The city was not his home. His place was where no human foot would ever tread. The danger was gone, and the Guardian vanished into the mist, leaving only a legend behind. They had built a monster for control, but they were saved by a monster of freedom. The story ended, but the king remained. At the dawn of time, the earth breathed in a rhythmic primal peace. But the winds of change are merciless, carrying black toxins that choked the very lungs of nature. In the heart of this encroaching shadow, the Lord of the Forest, who never sleeps while his kingdom is in peril, rises like a living mountain. The ground trembles beneath his weight, announcing to the heavens that the age of stillness has ended. Suddenly, the air shifts. A wave of lethal frost sweeps through the woods. From the white haze, a colossal shadow looms, a titan forged in the depths of the ancient ice age. It is the first beast, the glacial mammoth, carrying the raw power. Their gazes lock, the fire of fury burning in the great ape's eyes against the cold void of death in the mammoth's stare. The king thunders against his chest, a deafening roar declaring that this land is not big enough for two kings. With a momentum that shakes the very foundations of the mountains, the two forces collide. It is the moment of impact where the immovable mountain meets the roaring hurricane. The heart of the world shudders in fear as the earth buckles under the weight of their war. Tusks and fists intertwine in a macabre dance of death. But the Forest King knows no surrender. He adapts, turning the frozen terrain to his advantage, swinging a massive frozen trunk like a lethal club, forging a weapon out of the harsh elements. Yet, the mammoth's icy hide is as hard as steel. Shattering the wood, the beast slams its foot down, causing jagged spires of ice to erupt from the earth, encircling the king. In a blur of motion, Kong leaps high, defying gravity itself. He descends like a celestial thunderbolt. The seismic impact forces the great beast to its knees. If only for a second, there is no retreat, no submission. Eyes blaze amidst the killing frost. The mammoth's glacial fury explodes, its lethal tusks lunging forward to gore its foe, tossing the king aside like a broken doll into the forest wreckage. From deep within the beast, a blizzard erupts, cold enough to freeze the blood in one's veins. A frigid death pursues him, but the instinct to survive burns hotter than the frost. Nature is a double-edged sword, and the king knows how to wield it. With a single, calculated strike, he aims to shatter the invincible armor. Driven to madness, the ice beast rages, and the earth screams as a devastating earthquake tears the battlefield apart, shifting the balance of power. In a final, desperate move, the living mountain lunges toward the unknown. The king doesn't just want to survive. He seeks to conquer the summit of the beast. But the ice is more than armor. It is a living weapon that rejects invaders. The frost gnaws at his bones, and his iron grip begins to falter. With a violent heave, the earth rejects what it does not want. The fall is not the end, but the birth of a new rage. The adversary grants no time to recover. Death comes fast. Yet, in the face of the deluge, the mind proves to be a sharper weapon than muscle. When raw power meets raw power, the world quakes. They catch their breath in the middle of a frozen hell, but the heavens have their own designs. The storm intervenes. The earth's cry rises as lightning tears through the sky, signaling an unyielding wrath. A radiant abyss opens between the rivals, a barrier of light and fire. Kong stares into the chasm, the earth's angry energy reflecting in his eyes. The ice beast, however, refuses to back down, its roar challenging the very thunder above. Nature revolts. Towers of ice shatter like fragile glass under the weight of the gale. Amidst the collapse, Kong evades death with impossible grace, while the frozen titan crushes the debris with its mighty tusks without blinking. The storm intensifies, swallowing the world in shadows. Despite the sky's fury, the primal urge to fight pulls them back together, fist against tusk, The clash of titans resumes in the heart of the inferno. They recoil from the impact, the ground groaning under their heavy footfalls. From the depths of frozen history, a white storm surges to scorch everything in its path. But the Forest King will not stand idly by. The ancient beast attempts to ensnare its foe, its trunk coiling like a constrictor. Brute force is the only language these titans speak. Breaking free from the grip does not mean escaping the tusks. From the wreckage, the king finds his opening. He delivers a single shattering blow to the ice, crushing the beast's pride. The glacial mountain staggers, cracks spider webbing across its hide. This is the law of the jungle. Only the strongest survive.